Today I'm going to take you back to the past, but not to talk about any kind of games that are maybe not that great, but to talk about someone who I admire on YouTube. Thank you for downloading episode 5 of the MontesMayhem podcast. As I'm still trying to figure out things, I'm getting a hang of these little micro podcasts, I'll call them for now, and trying to think of some interesting things to talk about. And today, I want to talk about someone who I've been following on YouTube for a hot minute. Someone who I feel like my fandom has grown over the years more than any other piece of media or entertainment. And that's just talking about Cinemassacre on YouTube. Now, for those who don't know, Cinemassacre revolves around the angry video game nerd with James Rolfe, with his college buddy Mike Matei. They kind of work together setting up the channel, kind of doing some of the early writing and stuff like that. And I find it so intriguing for so many different levels. So first of all, let me just talk about what's actually on the channel. On the channel, as I mentioned, is the Angry Video Game Nerd. And for those who don't know, think of it as a persona that James Rolfe plays. Think Meatballs, the movie Meatballs, or kind of like 80s, any kind of like comedy movie where there's like geeks or nerds involved, I should say. Dialing his anger up to 11 and talking about old video games from the early 80s, 90s, and he jumps around a little bit from there. And it's just, it's evolved so much over the years. He's kind of one of the, I don't know if it's fair to say one of the original OGs of YouTube or YouTube series, but it's someone who definitely has been around for quite a long time. It's the most successful aspect of the YouTube channel. Brings in a lot of views, or a lot of viewers, I should say, especially as vintage gaming has jumped in popularity over the years. And it continues to go strong. Another aspect, I'm kind of going to jump all over the place from here on out. There's Monster Madness every October. James, who is a big movie horror guy, along with Mike, I suppose as well, but kind of started with James. Every year he's had, let's see, I think it's starting back from 2007, just talked about various aspects of horror movies, some monster movies. Think of it as, the best way I can describe it is, think of it as like a college film theory class, just kind of broken down into individual movies with reviews as well. And I think that's honestly my favorite part of the channel. Because again, it's like film theory. And that was one of the classes I loved the most when I was in school. I remember when I had to do a presentation. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was like the final report I had to do at the end of the school year, if I remember vaguely, ever so vaguely, because it was forever ago. And I remember starting it off where this presentation could have been, because I think you had to do a presentation and write like a 3-page report, something like that. And I'm like, this presentation could have been an hour and the paper could have been 50 pages, but I'm going to spare you the time and the energy. And I just kind of like that whole, the dissecting, the thinking process behind certain movies and just finding out about movies in that way. And I can go forever on that as well. Board James, kind of like the Angry Video Game Nerd, was a character that just did board games from way back when. It was a whole other scripted content of things. And it was a very fun one-off. I think it was like a dozen or so episodes. That was very intriguing and a lot of fun. And I wish he would bring it back. You know what's BS? Just one-off things where he's just really angry, where he's the BS man. I'm trying not to curse. Talking about one particular topic per episode. He has his original film, The Angry Video Game Nerd. He did top 10 list, was no big deal. He had rental reviews when he was with some other guys talking about movies in depth, which was almost like podcast episodes for like 45-ish minutes, maybe longer. And he did these things like talking about music and everything like that, because he's a big like old school metal guy and everything, and rock guy, I guess is fair to say. And he had a book that came out this past want to say it was Thanksgiving, it dropped before. It was definitely during the holidays. Mike has kind of branched off doing his own streaming stuff between Twitch, and then he uploads those streams to his own YouTube channel. And I don't even know where to begin. I've watched the channel grown so much. I like the way that they respond. I think James really, like, he doesn't bring in any drama. In fact, he kind of welcomes his channel to be all-inclusive in a way where it's like, listen, life's hard enough. Just come here, have some fun, learn about the things that he enjoys, which is, movies, especially movies, entertainment. He enjoys doing the nerd stuff and everything, which is funny. And it's just like, listen, the news is the news. Let's get away from it and enjoy it from here. His book, which I read ever so slowly because I read at the speed of molasses, I thoroughly enjoyed. Not because of James. Well, yes, James, the fact that it was around James and you find out some of the stuff from behind the scenes and everything, but the fact that he was so open about like some of the personal struggles when he was younger, because he is, I assume, 2 years, him and Mike and his crew, the OG guys, I think they're like 2 years older than me. So, it was very, I don't want to say relatable, but it's like, I kind of grew up in the same time, atmosphere, and everything like that. So, I can understand. It felt like it could be someone who lived across the street from me rather than someone from a different decade or a different part of the country because, I live in North Jersey, from, South Jersey, the Philly area and everything like that. So it's not like I have a whole world of possibility. And then from there, they've just been releasing, they dabble different things to see what clicks and everything. And there's a lot of times Monster Madness is just played on repeat in my home, mostly because sometimes it's just like I said, it's reviews. Sometimes it's kind of recapping some of the movies. It's all different, but it kind of just like keeps it fresh in my head because, you can't maybe sit down for a 90-minute movie, 2-hour movie all the time. But when you have those things kind of playing in the background, it just kind of reminds you of certain aspects and details of the film that took place. And there's something about the way James writes his scripts, the way he reads it. It's almost like kind of therapeutic in a way. And like you're almost listening to like some like relaxing lo-fi music in the background. So I'm sure a lot of people also do the same thing too. And then he has his other channel, Cinemassacre Clips, where it's kind of like old school reviews, like stuff he doesn't have on the main channel anymore, which I find really entertaining. Now, I cannot stress to you how much I enjoy the nerd. I'm hoping to meet James and Mike one day. Like that would be so freaking cool for me. I had a chance the first when there was too many games in 2001, 2, had to be 2001. I had people in my family who had serious health issues, and we didn't know all those things, so I was just being extra careful for them and everything. So it was I had to just drop out of the autograph line because the way people were, and if you ever go to conventions, they can be kind of, stinky, to say the least. So I didn't really want to be involved. But I'm really hoping for a future date I can try to meet them in some capacity because that'd be just so super cool. Hell, I even bought some artwork that his wife was selling on eBay. It was Frankenstein and the Bride, and I have it hanging up in my house and everything. I thought it was really 2 smaller prints and everything that she did, and I just thought those were super cool. And I just can't tell you how much that this channel and kind of some of the deep retrospective things have just, kind of just reminded me, life can be fun. Life doesn't have to be as chaotic as it is. Working in the news industry, it's very easy to forget that. Then on top of it, you add in some of the chaos of social media, and it's kind of like a whirlwind experience there. After that, it's worth pointing out some of the headaches that this channel, the crew, everyone involved has to deal with. There's a subreddit group called Cinemassacre Truths. I'm not sure which one it is. I've seen it before just out of pure curiosity, and people just bad mouthing everyone involved behind the scenes, how the quality's dipped and this and that. And it's just people who want to, I think, poo-poo on everything rather than just kind of enjoy it. It's that corner of the internet where I think the negativity just kind of circles itself and just kind of builds upon itself. and that's where people go, which is unfortunate. James has brought in a production company, Screenwave Media, to help out with stuff. And you know what? Frankly, I don't blame him. For anyone that tries to do videos consistently on YouTube, and I'm not talking like do a podcast, something like this, and then record yourself and cut up in snippets. Like, that's easy by comparison. Like, writing scripts, getting the video, doing a lot of that production work is not easy, guys. And I say that from someone who with 20 years of professional media experience. When you're trying to do all of that, trying to be a one-man crew, essentially, it is tricky. Then you're talking about the thumbnails, and then this, and then that. It builds up, and it eats up a lot of your time. So he hired this company to help him between production, help him with merch, advertisements, the thumbnails, the whole kit and caboodle of things, rather. And he's just, they're chastised for it. Now, the thing is, like, yeah, mistakes have happened. I'm not going to go into every single one. I don't want to kind of harp on the negativity. But you know what? Things like mistakes happen. Honest mistakes happen. People could have probably wished they did things differently. And it's okay. Like, it's not that big a deal at the end of the day. It's really, truly not. And there's just so many people are chastising him on the internet instead of just reminding or remembering the fact that, you know, the channel's here for fun. They're not spewing political facts. They're not trying to be misleading. It's just for fun at the end of the day. And thankfully, there is not a lot of drama in terms of the actual video content itself, which works out great. I can only think of maybe 2 videos off the top of my head after probably almost 2 decades worth of video. So that's pretty darn good if you ask me. Now, I also need to emphasize the fact that the far good greatly outlasts the bad. It truly does. And, you know, I'm happy that is the case, honestly. And, yeah, this is a little bit of I don't want to say a love letter to Cinemassacre, but it's a little bit of something that just makes me happy day in and day out. Whenever there's I get a little YouTube notification alert on my phone that there's a new Cinemassacre video, when there's new tweets out there. It just makes me smile, and I just when I come home from work, I like to kind of just chill out on the couch for a good 15, 20 minutes before I have to do anything. And, if I get to watch a new Cinemassacre video or I find an old one I forgot about that I want to rewatch, it's always awesome. So there you go. I'm trying not to make this for a micro podcast. It's going on way too long. But, by far one of my favorite pieces of media content out there, despite the platform it may be on, is without a doubt Cinemassacre for just so many more reasons, which I'm not going to divulge into. The other thing I just want to mention as a total aside is, so I'm having some construction done in my house, so I haven't been able to list anything on eBay because it's happening in the room I do all my eBay work in and everything. And you know what? It's funny how you're jonesing for something after not messing with it for quite a while. And I like that because it kind of helps me stay on the ball with the hustling and making sure I get stuff out of the house, make some money and everything. So just a cool aside, just so I can mention one other thing rather than Cinemassacre in all of this. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up right now. This is enough babbling for today. So you can follow me as MontesMayhem, MontesMayhem. I have my own .com. I have the Facebooks. I have the Twitters. I have the Instagrams, the YouTubes, the this, the that. Just check it. There's a good chance you're going to find me. Until then, guys, I'm trying to end this before it hit the 50-minute mark. So I hope everyone has a great day. Treat each other as well. And, watch a Cinemassacre video. Let me know what you think. All right. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.